Becoming an astronaut is a dream of many children. Many years of study and drastic selection criteria, however, discourage many. But we all continue to follow with admiration the rocket takeoff and the evolutions in space of Thomas Pesquet. In fact, since the Cold War between the United States and Russia between 1945 and 1975, controlling access to space has been a major issue for most economies, for both image and scientific reasons. Who does not have in mind the image of Neil Armstrong, the first man to set foot on the moon, on July 21st, 1969, victoriously planting the American flag on the moon floor? But if this image is so popular, it is also because it is a subject of heated discussions. More than 1 in 10 French people believe that Americans have never been on the moon, according to a 2019 IFOP survey. The reasons are various and we will see them in detail, but first, we must take into account the context of that time, at the heart of the Cold War, where propaganda is omnipresent. People are wary and used to governments embellishing reality, like the Vietnam War or Watergate, in order to defend their positions on the international stage. Furthermore, this Apollo mission had no real scientific purpose other than to produce images and bring back the astronauts alive, which may have appeared superficial and futile. One of the main arguments of conspiracy theorists is the fact that the American flag is waving, as if in a gentle breeze in the extraterrestrial atmosphere, yet very windless, or the absence of stars in the pictures. This is arguably the best known, but together we will take a look at a few. In 1974, Bill Kaysing's book appeared, We Never Went to the Moon, the American $30 billion scam, in which he developed the theory according to which the pictures brought back by the astronauts of the first moon landing and the first outing space would have been assembled from scratch by NASA in a secret military base installed in the desert of Nevada, with the complicity of Hollywood and its special effects. Critics of the small step for man, a big step for mankind base their arguments both on visuals taken from pictures and videos of astronauts, but also on the stakes of travel. Let's take a look at the main disturbing topics. First of all, the flag in the pictures. It looks like the flag is flying, but it's not. Held by a metal rod and crumpled from the long flight, the flag strictly maintains the same position from picture to picture. Indeed, it's not possible for the flag to fly in the wind, since the wind does not exist in the atmosphere, where everything inanimate remains rigorously still. These pictures raise a second point of disagreement. The stars. Why don't we see them in the pictures? Shouldn't they be much brighter and more visible than from Earth, since there is no light pollution, among other things? François Forget, astrophysicist and research director at CNRS, says, the lunar soil is lit by a very powerful sun, which is not attenuated by clouds or the atmosphere, a bit like a dazzling sun in the middle of the desert. Neither the human eye nor a camera has sufficient sensitivity to distinguish stars. It's like a football stadium light up at night. The light is so strong that you can see the pitch and the players, but not the stars. Let's continue with the problems pointed out on the images, and one of the most famous images, Buzz Aldrin's famous footprint. Non-believers have often pointed out that it's too perfect, too theatrical, but it is very easily explained. The footprints are particularly clear because the moon is just not a large pebble. It's mostly covered with regolith, a very thin dust produced by the incessant impact of meteorites, similar to ash and particularly suitable for returning traces, in particular in the absence of atmosphere and therefore of wind. on the same theme, conspirators have also regularly attacked the absence of traces on the moon landing, arguing that the movement caused by the rockets that land should have dusted large areas. Here again, the answer is similar. Through the atmosphere, no wind movements, so the dust that was displaced immediately settled. In addition, satellites from other nations that were able to take pictures of the moon afterward have clearly shown traces of where the rocket landed. And these other nations, being at war with the United States at times, they would not have demented the conspiracy theories of their own and by making a voluntary effort. Let's move on to another type of problem. A small sea visible in the NASA pictures. Since the moon is inhabited, who would carve a letter there? This detail elevated to the rank of ultimate proof, supported theories that the pictures were taken in a movie set. Fortunately, digital cameras did not exist at that time, and we could verify that this detail was not present on the film. Apart from the issues relating to physical elements, I promised to talk to you about the challenges of the mission. Let's put ourselves in context. In the midst of the Cold War, the two main powers abuse of propaganda and miss no opportunity to prove that they are each the best. The risks that the state are prepared to take to add success to its victory shot are then much higher than in normal times. The space race begins in 1955, and it takes 2 years to put a satellite into orbit. Yet, by 1969, both the US and Russia were ready to send men to space and the moon. This great leap forward, coupled with the fact that the trajectory of Buzz Aldrin's rocket had to cross the Van Allen belt, an area at the exit of the Earth's atmosphere, containing such density of energetic particles and deadly radiation, exacerbates the doubts of conspiracy theory aficionados. So, were scientific advances already really sufficient to allow a team of astronauts to survive in this no man's land? Well, yes, according to NASA, which adds that the rocket only spent a few hours in this area. But then, we arrive the plotters. Who is that we have been able to progress so much in a few years and that the pace has slowed down so much since? So the real question they ask is, how come we still can't go anywhere other than the moon? On this last point, we cannot blame those who relay the conspiracy theory. We are, I think, all eager to witness the next advancements in space. That said, what has changed is that the risk that we are prepared to see the astronauts take are much less. Since the famous Houston, we've had a problem of the Apollo 13, or because of the disintegration live from the Shuttle Challenger in 1986. Safety requirements require rules and an extra strict environment, which is expensive to set up, while the budget of NASA has been divided by 8 since 1970. Whatever the opinion of each one, an ultimate proof consists of 32 kilos of rocks brought back from the lunar star and assessed by scientists around the world from 1969 and until no later than 2015, without never seeing their origin extraterrestrial challenged, including by the enemies of the Cold War, the Russians. I think what we can learn from this story is that the context of an event is just as important as the act itself. Today, it's much more difficult to question what is happening and documented in real life. For example, Thomas Pesquet, who posts his daily life on Instagram, leaves us in no doubt of what he's doing. Afterwards, historical events always make one fantasies, and you have to admit that when you're not a direct part of it, it's easy to want to imagine yourself knowing something more than the others. I hope you enjoyed this video. Feel free to subscribe to this page and see you soon.